Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the state of Retribution Paladins going forward in Battle for Azeroth. Now, I got this idea, to be frank, and to promote them from a Wowhead post where they had some very high-level Paladins and just some very knowledgeable people. For example, the guy who creates the sim for Ret Paladins for the simulation craft. He commented on it. Feet, who is a very good Retribution Paladin, and some other Paladins who are notably good Paladins, commented on this post. But I consider myself to be a pretty good Ret Paladin as well. And while I might not be able to give you direct input, as I don't have Battle for Azeroth access, I can give you what I think about it and maybe what I think needs to still change about it. So, as of right now in Battle for Azeroth, the first thing I'm going to touch on is Retribution Paladin's lack of mobility. So, right now, if we spec into Cavalier, that gives us 2 horses, which is fairly mobile. There are times, especially if you're like me, you spec into it sometimes so you can be a little bit more aggressive or not waste your cooldown, like your Crusade, for example. So, you're trying to get place to place really quick. King Garoth, Mythic especially, is something that comes to mind. Where Cavalier, if you don't use Cavalier, you're not going to do a very good damage on that boss. But there's other ones as well. Anything where you are responsible for soaking, as Ret Paladin, you're not usually going to be responsible for running and soaking something. But if you are, you're going to want Cavalier for that as well. But the problem with that is that's the talent choice. Somebody posed the idea that maybe we just always get 2 charges of Divine Steed, and then you can spec into something to make it stronger if you wanted to increase mobility. But having to spec into something to have any mobility whatsoever is unlike most classes, not every class, but unlike most classes, and unlike most specs in the game, and I think that really needs to change. Paladins are supposed to be mobile. I mean, they're known for charging in on their horses or on their steed, whatever, and slaying the enemy, not walking very slowly at their enemy. So hopefully that can maybe get some sort of a change to increase our mobility at least a little bit. One problem I see going forward right now is lack of AoE. As of right now, there's nothing to really buff your Divine Storm damage straight up, but there is a talent that buffs your Templar's Verdict damage for single target. So of course, they can correct this by just making Divine Storm do a lot more damage on its own, so you don't need a talent. But as of right now, it appears that there's going to be a huge lack of AoE in Battle for Azeroth. And another thing is Execution Sentence seems to be extremely powerful right now. And that's another single target thing. So as of right now, it looks like we're going to be extremely strong single target things, but have a general lack of AoE, which is a big change from right now, where we are AoE machines. If you have the right gear on and are in the right situation, you're going to do a ton of AoE damage. I'll comment a little bit more on the very strong burst. So, like I said, I kind of touched on the points already. Templar's Verdict has a talent that increases its damage done. And you also have Execution Sentence, which as of right now is very strong. Now, Execution Sentence is noticeably nerfed a lot in the game because it tends to get too strong. They have changed the way it works a little bit. It's not like a big hammer that falls down. It consumes a judgment buff, I believe, debuff, and then increases the holy damage done for 10 seconds, and it has a 30-second cooldown, I believe is the way the talent works right now. So for 10 seconds, you basically do a ton of damage. So you'd want to make sure that time, for example, let's say you have Crusade talent, which is basically the same as in Legion. You want to make sure that one of them went off. You know, you want to have as many 10-second things. It lasts 25 seconds. So if you could, you'd want to have as many of those 25 seconds have an Execution Sentence as possible. I believe that'd be 15 seconds would be the most you could have, and you'd want to have it at the end of your Crusade, of course, not at the beginning. The best change right now is the Mastery. So Mastery it was a little bit limited. We didn't really use it until this last patch for Antorus. We didn't like Mastery. We liked Crit more than Mastery, and they kind of swapped those on us. Haste, of course, is always good. But Mastery now, instead of increases damage done when your Judgment debuff is on there, Mastery increases your total holy damage done in general. So this is a huge improvement because now Mastery is just good no matter what. If something has Mastery on it, it's good. It might not be the best choice. We'll see how everything works out. Maybe, I mean, haste is still going to be good to a point. Crit will probably be a little bit higher up than it is right now. But Mastery won't be a wasted stat like it was at the beginning of this expansion of Legion. Mastery was a wasted stat, and that should never happen again. It should always, it's almost like versatility. You don't necessarily want to stack it for most people, but it's always somewhat useful, and Mastery should be that way as well. Overall, and the last point I want to touch on is just the talents in general. I did a video about them. These talents are going to change a bunch more before Battle for Azeroth. I'm probably not going to do a video every single time they change the talents up a little bit. But as of right now, they kind of have in each tier one talent that's just like a really easy, anybody can play kind of talent. And that's a good thing for sure. If you're new to a class, especially, I know when I'm healing on as a Restorer Druid right now on an alt, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So right now I'm using all the easiest talents while I learn, and then then you can explore into the more difficult talents. So you have one of those in basically every tier. From what I've read and what I've gathered and seen, there's a tier with Wake of Ashes in it, and that tier kind of sucks, and everything but Wake of Ashes kind of sucks in there. And then there's a tier you can choose Crusade in the final tier, or there's another talent that is more sustained damage, which it gives you the option. Do you want sustained damage, or do you want to do some burst with Crusade? That'll be useful for certain fights as long as they're somewhat even. On fights where you can't really time out when you're going to have 25 seconds to be on the boss or where you need to be. He might need to be moving around a lot. Sustained damage might be a better choice there. So at least it might give us as of right now, might give us a different choice than just having Crusade. So I am looking forward to that. Like I said at the beginning, the talent change I'd like to see is get rid of Cavalier. Someone else said this, but this is something I've thought for a very long time. But get rid of Cavalier and just give us the movement in general. Give us two things: a horse, or make horse last longer, cooldown less, something. Rework the way that works a little bit, and give you an option to buff it up if you want. If you want to be even more mobile, let us be a super mobile class if we choose that talent, like some other classes are. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it so far. Those are my 5 points that I wrote down and thought to talk about. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Ret Paladins right now, especially if you're playing the alpha. I'd love to hear your thoughts, not just the thoughts of some of these high-end players, but just some regular players that are playing in the alpha. Love to hear that. But yeah, everybody have a good one.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Thumbs up and sub as always. Also comment below, share the videos. Appreciate it so much. You can also check me out at Twitter at WoW Gaming Inc. and at Twitch with the tag name Kneecap Killer. So everyone have a good one and see you again soon.